Alright guys, today's going to be one of the first what if videos I present to you all. I've been wanting to do videos like this for quite some time. This what if video is going to be based off of this idea: what if Bruce Wayne, Batman, had two children instead of one? Usually he just has Damian, but what if he had another kid at that same time? This is going to be one of many what ifs to come in the future, and also if any of you have any what if ideas that you would like me to write a story about, put it in the comments below and I will eventually get working on it. But without further ado, please enjoy. It's been 8 months since Talia placed Damian in Bruce Wayne's care. He's learned all he knows from his mother and the League of Shadows, but now it was time to learn discipline and control from his father. Even at such a young age, Batman had no choice but to make Damian a Robin, considering the fight is all he knows. Damian still has so much to learn. He's more stubborn than Bruce in nearly every way possible, although even Bruce has so much to learn. Sure, he had Grayson, Todd, and Drake, but even they were a little bit older when he took them in. Having his own biological son is strange to Bruce, but different in a good way, even though it's taking a lot of getting used to. The problem is Damian is not necessarily good. He has too much of the League in him. Roz is the issue. His grandfather left his mark on Damian, and Bruce can tell. While Bruce sits in the Batcave chasing down a lead on some missing inmates from Blackgate Prison, Alfred tries to prepare Damian for bed. Bruce decided he was going to patrol on his own tonight, and that Damian should be a normal boy and go to bed at an earlier time. "I'm not going to bed! You can't treat me like a child! I am the grandson of the demon!" Alfred rolls his eyes, pushing him towards the elevator, leading to the secret entrance that leads back into the manor. Bruce shakes his head, not even looking back to say goodnight. He clearly can't be bothered with his attitude right now. As Bruce continues his research, an alert pops up on the computer, interrupting everything. Bruce opens the alert, showing surveillance camera footage of a girl not much older than Damian standing out front of Wayne Manor's front doors. Knocking repeatedly and ringing the doorbell, Bruce and Alfred begin to talk over their intercom. "Who the hell is that, Alfred, and how did she get by the gates?" Bruce sternly asks. Alfred stands on the second level of Wayne Manor and glares out the window to see the girl frantically yelling and knocking, asking to speak to Bruce Wayne. "I'm not entirely sure, Master Bruce, but I will see what I can do." Alfred opens the front door and calmly yet smugly asks, "Can I help you, miss?" Not telling Alfred her name, she says, "I need to speak to Bruce Wayne now. It's important." Alfred begins to slowly close the door as he responds, "To see Mr. Wayne, you must book an appointment. He is a very busy man. And next time, if it pleases you, use the main entrance gates." As Alfred closes the door and begins to walk away, she blurts out as loud as she can, "My name is Helena, and I am the daughter of Bruce Wayne." Bruce sits at his computer, watching and listening intently as his world shatters all over again. A son and a daughter, he thinks to himself. This is one of the few times in his life he's too stunned to react. There is no definitive proof she is his daughter, but having a son has changed everything. Would it be so crazy to have another child that was hidden from him all these years? Alfred turns around and looks at the door with a fair amount of disbelief, but nothing prepared him for the next part. "I know he's Batman!" shouts Helena from behind the door. Alfred, shocked, not wanting to take any chances, starts to walk away from the door. Bruce, however, down in the Batcave, presses a button on his keyboard that opens the front door and lets her in. Alfred looks at the girl, still shocked, while Damian Wayne, standing on the second floor, looking down at her, is not liking what he sees. Alfred and Damian rejoin Batman in the Batcave while Bruce meets and talks to Helena. "I never thought I'd meet you," Helena says with a smile on her face. Even Bruce can see a bit of resemblance, but he still asks her, "How do I know you're telling the truth?" From a satchel on her pants, she opens it and hands Bruce a dagger with a demon's head sigil on the blade. "You'll recognize this. It was my mother's." Bruce's shock remains as his family tree continues to grow. This is Talia's. We had a daughter together as well? Damian Wayne shoots up from a chair he was sitting in and runs beside his father. Hell no, there's no way. I was the only child. I never grew up with a sister. Dad, she's lying. Helena interrupts Damian. What? No, that's Nissa's. Bruce's glare from the dagger darts right at Helena, eyes wide open. Nyssa and Talia both must have had the same blade. Nyssa is my mother, Helena says. Even the bats in the Batcave fall silent. That can't be possible. She's dead, Bruce says, knowing there's something he doesn't know. Helena settles in to present her story. 14 years ago, when you were in Ethelfiban, training and learning our ways from my grandfather, there was an ongoing secret takeover of the League. It was my mother plotting from within to overthrow my grandfather's reign. My mother, as you know, was vocally against my grandfather's rule and decision-making for their people and wanted to change things. No more Lazarus Pit and no more terrorist attacks on cities. My mother believes this is why you two fell in love, because you both had similar goals and were both against my grandfather's ways. One night when she was supposed to meet you in your quarters, she was ambushed by my grandfather and my aunt, Talia. Since Nyssa was the oldest of daughters, her child would one day take Roz's place, and he knew that. Not wanting an offspring who would probably change everything he worked for, he decided to remove Nyssa and place Talia's offspring as the next in line, since Talia sees things the way Roz does. Helena quickly looks over at Damian, feeling saddened that she was forgotten about when Damian has had everything. Continuing her story. My grandfather gave my mother a false hope, saying that if she defeated her sister Talia in battle, the League of Shadows would be hers to do as she sees fit. As my mother readied herself, the assassins came from their hiding places and overwhelmed her in the Lazarus Pit room. They placed her alone away from Ethelfiban on a small island with no way to escape. Talia wanted my mother dead, but Nyssa was pregnant with your child, me. And Roz still had love for Nyssa. For years, he would send supplies so my mom and me could both survive. Roz would even visit sometimes to play with me as a young girl, and to try and convince my mother to see things the way he does. It didn't work, and she hated him more and more every time he came. The final time I saw my grandfather, he told my mother that Talia had a son and that it was yours. It physically broke her. So after that, she trained me and taught me everything she knew and waited until I was of age to one day escape the island so we could come find you. A boat came through a couple days ago to bring us supplies, and I boarded it. I helped my mother as much as I could with the assassins on board, but I had to leave without her. And here I am. Bruce gently places the dagger on a table. This girl is lying. My mother and grandfather would never do something like this, Damian shouts. Bruce quickly turns to Damian with an angry look on his face. Enough, Damian! This is exactly something Roz would do, and it is something your mother would entertain. Bruce now looks towards Helena. The night Nyssa disappeared, they told me she was on an assignment in Kondak. She went MIA as the weeks went on. They never found her body. Talia and I grieved together, and that's when Bruce stops himself and looks at Damian, who has been frustrated throughout this entire revelation. Bruce walks over to Helena and places his hand on her shoulder. If I knew your mother was alive, I would have done everything in my power to have helped her. Helena smiles at Bruce. She knows you would have, and that was enough for her. Bruce and Helena both smile at each other, but breaking the heartfelt moment, the bat jet suddenly turns on and starts hovering. Damian snuck away into the jet. Damian! Bruce yells out as he tries to abort the jet's departure using the bat computer, but he's too late. As Damian leaves, Bruce tracks the jet, but already knows where he's going. Back to Ethelf Iban. Bruce suits up and prepares his spare jet for takeoff. I need to stop Damian from doing something reckless. Stay here with Alfred. He'll keep you safe. Batman hops in the jet with Helena following him over. No, I have to come with you. I need to know if my mom is still alive. Please. Batman pauses for a moment and nods his head in agreement, allowing her to board the jet. Alfred, remain in contact and scan the area around Ethelfiban. I need a scan of all the islands around, and I need to know if there are any life signs. Damian eventually arrives at Ethelfiban. Talia and Roz come out to greet who they thought was Batman piloting the jet, just to find it was Damian. Damian, where's your father? Talia asks as she goes in to hug her son. Damian places his arm out to reject the hug. I know about Nyssa and Helena. I have questions and I need answers. Damian practically walks through his mother and grandfather and through the temple doors. Roz and Talia walk from a distance behind Damian. Looking impressed, Roz says, "It seems Helena's made it to Gotham. She's more capable than I thought." Annoyed and angry, Talia responds, "We should have killed Nyssa all those years ago." Talia quickens her pace, catching up to her son and leaving her father behind. Roz slowly walks and grins, pleased with how skilled all members of his family have become. Entering the main room with the Lazarus pit sitting in the center, Damian begins to raise his voice with pure frustration and anger. Why was I not told the truth about Nyssa and a half-sister I knew nothing about? Maybe father was right. Secrets and betrayal are much more of a priority than anything else with you two. Talia tries to calm her son down with Roz walking into the room behind her. Damian walks straight up to his grandfather and yells, "Is everything you talked about me and my future all a lie as well?" Roz stares through the boy's eyes and into every fiber of his being while grabbing him by the neck. "When you speak to the head of the demon, you do so with reverence and respect. I did not earn that. I demand it." Talia runs in between her father and son to coddle Damian like a privileged child. Roz sits at the edge of the Lazarus pit and slowly runs his hand back and forth, creating a small current in the water. "I have been walking the earth for over 600 years. I have had many families over that amount of time, and this particular lineage has impressed me the most. All of you have made me incredibly pleased with your skills and abilities you have demonstrated, including Nyssa and Helena." Talia and Damian stare at Roz in confusion. "Father!" Talia yells out. Roz continues, "It's true, Talia. They may not be on our side, but I greatly appreciate their determination and the will to propel their desires through their actions." Roz walks along the stone steps to stand above the Lazarus pit. "A few days ago, our supply ship was assaulted at the island we keep Nyssa and her daughter. Upon their failure to return, we sent a team to discover what has happened. Everyone was dead and the supply ship gone. Helena's body was not found, thankfully." "And what of Nyssa?" Talia asks. Roz gets to the top of the steps and pauses for a moment before he says, "Dead, unfortunately." Damian steps up and says to his grandfather, "I am the grandson and future head of the demon. This should have been known to me. How could you care so much for Nyssa and Helena knowing they are not on your side?" "Love knows no bounds, Damian. We may not share the same goals, but we do share the same blood. Nyssa did not disappoint me when she stood up for her beliefs. It just showed she was not meant to bear the burdens of the demon." Roz takes off his robe and drops it into the Lazarus pit as it slowly begins to burn away in the liquid. Returning down the stairs and walking towards Damian, Roz continues his speech. "Everything that has happened with Nyssa and Helena, your mother and Bruce, it was to pave the way for your bright future. This is all yours, Damian. You come from Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight of Gotham City, and Talia al Ghul, a byproduct of myself. You have everything you need to lead this great legion and the people of Ethelf-Iban into new heights and opportunities we have never had before. Roz gently places his hand on Damian's face. You have spent enough time with your father. Bruce will forever lead you on a crusade that will never finish. People will continue to die, and he will let it happen by not taking the necessary action. Your place is here with me and your mother. Continue to learn the ways of the assassin, and this will all be yours. Damian looks at his mother, then to the Lazarus pit, and then back to his grandfather. He nods his head in agreement. Roz gets back on his feet and places his hand on Damian's shoulder. Good. Now take that costume off and place something on more fitting to an heir of the demon. In the Batjet with Batman and Helena, they are soon approaching Ethelf-Iban themselves. A transmission comes in from Alfred. Master Bruce, I have scanned the islands around Ethelf-Iban, including the island believed to be Nissa's island, from the satellite's telemetry data. Unfortunately, I have picked up no life signs. Helena's head goes down in disappointment, and Batman responds, Thank you, Alfred. Let me know if you find anything else. Certainly, sir. As Alfred ends the transmission. After a few moments, Batman looks at Helena and decides to give some words of encouragement. Nissa would be very proud of you. Faced with great opposition and the will to survive, you succeeded. Helena, still very sad with her head so low, it's almost sinking into her lap. I'm proud of you, Batman says to his daughter. Helena looks at her father while he flies the jet with a brand new smile on her face and something to be happy about. Approaching Ethelf-Iban, the jet says. Batman lands his jet next to the other jet Damian took to get there. As Batman and Helena exit, there is surprisingly nobody around, just silence. The only noise is the wind blowing through the trees. I imagine you're capable, but if anything is to happen, stay close to me, Batman says to Helena. Batman and Helena walk through the front gates and through many hallways. Roz and Talia will likely be waiting for us in the next room. Try to keep calm and center yourself. Helena nods her head in agreement with Batman. They finally walk into the Lazarus pit room and they see Roz, Talia, and Damian all standing above the pit. Bruce Wayne, it's been too long, says Roz. Our reunions are far too few. I see you have met your daughter, Helena. She's quite talented for someone with such little training. You and my daughter seem to make very talented specimens. If only Nissa could still be here. She would be impressed with Helena. Batman looks to Damian and notices he's no longer wearing the Robin costume he left in. Damian, what are you doing? I'm living out my destiny, Father. I learned many things with you, but I realized I was losing focus on my true potential. The future leader of the League of Shadows cannot waste time with the endless fight of Gotham City, something only you think is worth fighting for. Damian takes out the Robin symbol and throws it in the Lazarus pit to burn away. Batman looks to his side, a stone wall, and notices the Robin suit is pierced against the wall with a dagger. Talia acknowledges Batman by saying, I am sorry it had to be this way, beloved, but Damian has learned all he needs from you. You were simply a means to his true calling. Talia performs a ninja jump and throws multiple stars at Batman, in which he easily dodges. As Batman spars with Talia, Damian hops down and spars with Helena. Roz overlooks the action taking place. Join our cause, beloved. Fight side by side with me and your son. Together we can rid the world of the exact things you fight against. Batman responds, You are the exact thing I fight against, Talia. You're not even half the person Nissa was. Talia enrages and starts throwing everything she has at Bruce. On the other hand, Damian is toying with Helena. Even though she has training, she's no match for the son of Bruce Wayne, trained by Batman and Ra's al Ghul. Mocking her, Damian says, There's a reason you were born on an island with no one to care for you. You and your mother don't have what it takes. You're weak. Death will be a mercy for you. Damian has Helena on the ground, about to deal a a killing blow with a sword. Batman blocks one of Talia's strikes, tosses her on his back, and forcefully backs up into the wall behind him, leaving Talia in pain on the ground. Batman then throws a batarang at Damian's sword, knocking it out of his hands and distracting him from Helena. Helena then sweeps Damian off of his feet and backs up to Batman. Batman grapples the sword over to himself and he shatters it so it can't be used. "Enough!" Roz yells above the Lazarus pit. "We have entertained this long enough. If you will not join the League of Shadows, then you must die." From the shadows on the ceiling, assassins drop down and surround Batman and Helena. Batman is prepared to defend Helena with his life until suddenly multiple daggers are thrown within the chest of some of the assassins. Disguising as one of the assassins and taking their mask off is Nyssa. Helena's eyes widen with shock and happiness. "Mother!" she screams out. Helena runs towards the stairs to get to her father, but Talia steps in the way. "You wanted your trial by combat all those years ago? You can have it now," Talia says to Nyssa as the two begin to fight. Batman takes on the rest of the assassins with assistance from Helena, although Batman seems to make light work of any of the assassins one by one. Suddenly, Damian enters the picture. He jumps for Helena once again, hoping to kill her to prove his dominance in the face of his father and the League of Shadows. Nyssa and Talia continue to fight as Nyssa knows this is a must-win situation. "I will kill you, sister, which is what father should have done in the first place." Nyssa keeps her cool and doesn't respond, focusing on the fighting. Damian, on the other hand, is not holding back and showing Helena that she stands no chance. Batman is now beginning to get overrun with assassins and is using all the gadgets he has on hand to keep them at bay. With one moment to analyze his surroundings, Batman attaches a small gadget to the tip of his grapple gun and fires 3 cylinder-like devices that stick to the ceiling before he gets tackled to the ground and held down by 5 assassins. Looking around the room and seeing Nyssa fight her sister and Roz overseeing the fighting, Batman looks across and sees Damian on top of Helena, choking her with all of his force. Batman loves his son. He loves Damian, but Batman knows the woman that Nyssa is, and he knows their daughter is just as good of a person. For the first time in his 8 months of being a father, he looks at his daughter and knows what he would do for his child, which is anything. Batman yells out in anger and overpowers the assassins holding him down, grapples across the room to his children, and tackles Damian, pinning him up against the wall. Damian is now his enemy. Nyssa, on the other hand, wins her battle. She stabs her sister through the shoulder with her sword, dropping Talia to her knees. She pulls the sword out and kicks Talia away. "And this is something I should have done a long time ago." Right after Nyssa says that, she flips the sword into a throwing position and throws the sword straight towards Ra's al Ghul. Ra's closes his eyes and grins, not even trying to evade the sword. The sword impales Ra's and he falls over. The demon's head is dead. Nyssa takes a moment to appreciate her victory and then runs over to her daughter, making sure she is okay. Damian, Talia, and the other assassins in the room are stunned, not so much by the fact that he died, but by the fact he didn't even try to avoid his death. Batman drops Damian and presses down on his belt. The 3 cylinders he shot at the ceiling earlier were explosives. The Batjet hovers over top, and Batman runs over to Nyssa and Helena, grappling away and escaping. As they fly away, Batman remotely sets the other jet to return to the Batcave. Talia, injured and Damian in a little bit of pain, walk to Raz's body. Damian asks if they should place him in the Lazarus pit, but Talia says no. She looks at Damian and continues, "This is yours now, my son. You are the demon's head." As for Batman, Nyssa, and Helena, they embrace each other, making sure they're all okay. Batman takes off his mask and looks at Nyssa, both of them looking at each other with joy. Helena, happy to see both of her parents reunited. Grabbing something from her back pocket, an item she took off of Damian in their battle. She looks down and stares at it with a delightful interest. It's an R-shaped shuriken. Bruce looks back at Helena and sees her staring at the R-shaped throwing star. He smiles, knowing what's going to come next. Well, there you go, guys. That is the end of the story on what if Batman had two children. Helena, as we all know, is either Helena Bertinelli, or on another Earth, it is the daughter of Bruce and Selina Kyle. This time around, I kind of wanted to change it and make her another child of the League of Shadows. Now, not even gonna lie, Batman's a little bit of a dog in this story, considering that he was with two sisters, in which both these sisters ended up having his children. But comment down below, guys, and let me know what you thought of this what if. Ask me some questions and I'll give you my reasoning on why I chose to do what I did. I also have ideas on how this story could continue, so if you want me to continue this, I will. And once again, let me know some other what ifs you would like me to work on. But that is all I have for you on this one, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, I'll talk to you all very soon.